Hey, this is CJ with The Gist, and today I'm going to show you how to streamline and automate your handoff from sales to customer service or onboarding after a closed-won deal in HubSpot. Let's dive in. Okay, every single company that I know, especially in the B2B space, something needs to happen after a sale is made, right? You close a deal, you sign paperwork, whatever it is. Then there's products that need to be shipped, services that need to be rendered, onboarding processes, whatever. So if you have an onboarding or implementation team, this video is specifically for you. Okay, what we're trying to do is cut down on the manual data entry, paperwork, gaps in communication when somebody in a sales environment has worked with a client, done their job, and now has to hand it off to somebody else. Usually there's data that needs to be synced, steps that need to be followed, things that need to be communicated, actions that need to be taken, whatever. So the way to begin is inside your deal pipeline. If you are a sales leader, I would set the expectation that your sale is not done until your client has been onboarded. If that's a little bit too extreme, I would say your sale has not been completed until it has been properly handed off to the customer service team or the onboarding team or the implementation team. So the best way to require this to happen so that your team has no other option but to provide the implementation team with what they need is to make it physically impossible for your sales team to move deals into closed-won stages without providing the information that the implementation or onboarding team needs. You can see here, I can take a random deal and I'm gonna move it over to sign paperwork, but all of these properties are required. Now, this is a dev portal and they happen to be filled out, but this one's blank and there's another blank one down here. And you can see this is not just like closed date and closed one reason, right? There's a bunch of properties in here that are required to move the deal into this stage because these are things that the customer service team are going to need. So what I would first do is make sure your sales and onboarding teams are inextricably linked. The onboarding process should inform how deals are submitted, therefore should inform the sales process. So if you're a sales leader, schedule a meeting with your customer service manager, your onboarding manager, and ask them what information they need if you don't already know it. And if you are a customer service or onboarding team leader, I would tap your sales team on the shoulder and say, hey, can you please make sure that when you submit a deal in HubSpot, at least these properties are required. So you can see right here for signed paperwork, when you're in the deal pipeline configuration, you can literally just add whatever properties you need here. But first, it's more of a strategic conversation. Hey, what data do we need? And then the next thing, so now, right, that's step one. You've at least kept the sales team honest by making sure they're providing the information they need to submit a deal. Next thing you want to do is create a workflow that is going to ideally create a ticket. But before we get there, the ticket needs to go somewhere. So I would highly recommend that you use a ticket pipeline for implementation. How you structure this is really going to depend. There's really no standardized implementation process because it varies so much industry to industry. This is a dev portal that happened to be made for the HR and payroll industry. But you can see that whenever the sales team submits a deal, it comes in here to new deal. The implementation team is going to review it. And if it doesn't meet their requirements, they're going to move it to rejected back to sales. They're going to type the reason why. And then the sales team is going to get notified and they're going to know what they have to do, or they're going to move it forward. But regardless, you need a place, specifically a ticket pipeline, to receive the ticket upon the deal being closed. So if you've got a deal pipeline that collects all the necessary data in order to start the implementation process and an implementation ticket pipeline that people can work, you just need to figure out how to link it, and that's where the workflow comes in. So as you can see, this workflow triggers whenever a deal is moved to the signed paperwork stage. Now you can do some other things like branching, like, hey, if it's Depending on the deal type, we're going to assign it to different people or send different internal notifications. But essentially what you want to do is create a ticket. And what we've also done is we've copied all of the relevant properties that we just required our sales team to submit on the deal over to the ticket. So all of these properties that I just showed you that we've required in the signed paperwork stage, these are deal properties. You got to clone all of them as ticket properties. Maybe you can use the sync properties feature, but I would have to learn a little bit more about your situation to know if that was the best way to configure it or not. It all depends on where the data normally originates from. At the very least, you can create those same properties as ticket properties and then as company properties, so that when the deal moves, not only are we creating a ticket, all of that important data copies from the deal to the ticket. And while you're at it, you might as well copy it from either the deal or the ticket to the master company record if it's data that is permanent, needs to live on that company long term. What we're also doing, once we're creating the ticket and assigning it to a rep, is we are sending an internal notification. Does this go to a manager? Does it go to a specific rep, or do we rotate it among a team of reps depending on the situation? And now we have a nice little internal email notification that does more than just say, hey, Johnny closed this deal, Mary, it's your turn to start the implementation process. But it's got a lot of the information that Mary needs, or maybe would just like to have, for her to begin her process. Ideally, she would have an email template already made with instructions to the client and a link to book a kickoff meeting on her calendar. But again, this varies from every single company. Then yes, you're gonna configure this ticket pipeline, and you're gonna wanna talk through what are the major milestones in the implementation process and what other data points do we need to capture, like when I move it to here, what is the complexity, or what's their target go live date, or any one of those things. What we may also want to do is create a variety of other workflows. You can see here, just by browsing the workflows we have labeled as implementation, we have workflows that will alert the implementation rep when the go live date, the target go live date, is 2 days away or 7 days away, when the target go live date has come and passed, right? So there's a lot of cool things you can do in terms of building workflows to support the actual onboarding process from like a project management and coordination standpoint. But again, going back to the simplicity, I can't tell you how many companies I know that have friction between their sales and onboarding or implementation teams, right? The sales team always complains that the implementation team doesn't know how hard it is to chase down a client and actually close a deal. And the implementation team always accuses the sales team of not doing what they're supposed to and gathering all the information. They're both right. Both of the jobs are challenging enough as it is, so the more you can do to facilitate a clean handoff, the more everybody wins. Sales, yes, you need to enter certain information in order to submit a deal. And implementation, you got to take that and move with it and support the sales team by helping them understand what information is valuable. If that is baked into the CRM, meaning a sales rep literally can't submit a deal without entering that information, and they know that there's nothing else they have to do because the automation is going to take care of the rest, creating the ticket, copying the properties, notifying the team, then you have just saved everybody a bunch of time, a bunch of headaches, because literally this efficient growth system is embedded into how your CRM functions. And that is how you streamline handoff from sales to implementation in HubSpot. I get really jazzed about this if you couldn't tell. I think a lot of people think about HubSpot in terms of marketing and sales use cases, but the reality is growth occurs by reducing friction and improving alignment and communication across marketing, sales, and service functions. And this is a great example of that. So if you like this video, please, I sound like one of these YouTubers that my kids watch all the time now, hit like and subscribe, because we love making these videos and we want more people to see them. Also, if you have any questions or you want to suggest other videos that we can make, please leave a comment or click a link on our channel, go back to our website, The Gist, and fill out a form and leave a message for us. Get in touch with us. We always want to understand what things people are trying to do in HubSpot, what things that they're struggling with, so we can make more videos to help you. Thank you so much. This is an absolute pleasure. We love doing this, and we'll see you soon.